stupendous weekend, man. And at the same time, jumping subjects here a little bit. While we were enjoying an awesome concert, we missed a pretty epic fight, man. I saw the replay.
Yeah, fights plural. Yeah. There was all kinds of crazy shit that went down. I saw some highlights of different fights that were happening on that event, and fight of the night didn't even go to the main card, one of the main card events.
It didn't.
It was pretty stacked.
Yeah, one of the fights in the undercard that I was dying to see was actually what's his name? God, I always forget his fucking name. He's one of the bantamweights. Not bantamweights, featherweights. Same division as Frankie Edgar, Jose Aldo. God damn.
Well, the guys who took the fight of the night it was Ortega and something else.
T-City. I know T-City won with a guillotine choke, and that was beautiful.
It was nice.
Yeah, he came back. I think he's coming back off an injury or something like that. Or his 2 consecutive losses or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but here's one thing I wanted to bring up before I jump into this other important subject. Did you hear the whole bullshit with Tyron Woodley and Dana White?
I heard that they're not really getting along because Dana's pissed off that he's kind of a points fighter. You know what I mean? He's just trying to win rounds.
Yeah,
he's not like a finisher. He could have. I didn't see the fight, but Dana was not happy. I saw the post-fight press conference, and Dana was like, "Anytime you get booed out of an arena, no one's excited to see you fight again." So he's like, "We're not going to give him GSP. GSP's going to fight Michael Bisping."
Yeah, but you know what? I don't. The Tyron GSP fight will not sell like expected. It'll only sell because of GSP.
Almost nothing will sell now with Tyron Woodley. People he broke the record for least punches thrown in a title fight.
Wow.
Isn't that shitty?
Holy shit.
But in his defense, he's fighting a guy whose main goal is to get him to the ground. So Tyron Woodley successfully defended all 21 of Damian Maia's takedown attempts.
Yeah, his takedown defense was flawless this weekend.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, perfect. Man, it just sucks. And then he was on, I think, MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, and he said he says he demands a public apology from Dana White.
Damn, I don't think Dana's ever done that. So good luck.
So what I see coming is he might take his talents to to Bellator. I see that coming.
Yeah, I mean, if his contract's up anytime soon, but yeah, it's possible because Bellator is paying those guys pretty good. I don't know how he has all that, so much money, but UFC is just so huge. They employ way more people, so I think they're able to divide funding, to allocate the wealth a little bit more properly to the fighters, the actual talent, the reason why people are purchasing all this stuff. UFC is so huge. They just have so much to employ, so many things to take care of as far as like their website and all of the merchandise, but it's all money making things for them.
I even saw the winning purses that even like John Jones, he only got $500,000 and no win bonus.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure they knew he was going to win. So.
I think DC, just to show up, got $1 million.
Whoa, that's fucking awesome, man. That.
Yeah,
good for him.
And the only couple of fighters that I know that got win bonuses was Chris Cyborg, and I think I want to say Volkan, because Volkan just destroyed Jimmy Manawa in the first round, like in seconds. Like it was.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see that.
It was so brutal. I know I spoiled that one for you, but. It was the one fight. Was the undercard. Going back to what I was talking about was Ricardo Lamas and Jason Knight. That one ended in a brutal fucking TKO. Ricardo Lamas won that one. He won it in 26 seconds.
What?
Yeah, he destroyed him. It was he beat him like he just stole his wallet. It was so fucking brutal. And then The Lawler Cowboy fight. Okay, I think what you were reading, I'm pretty sure it was accurate. I think Cerrone did get robbed.
I watched the fight, actually. I watched the third round. And
that's the only round that I think Lawler really dominated. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
the third round was close. But the thing is that the way that the UFC judges is octagon control is a big part of their scoring criteria. So he was pushing the fight from the center of the cage, chasing Donald Cerrone around the perimeter. And anytime you have someone who's being aggressive and controlling the center of the octagon, you're just racking up points, even if you're getting tagged. And that was the funny thing is that he was putting on the pressure heavy.
Yeah.
But
because neither of them had knockdowns.
And
none of them, neither of them.
And he had more strikes attempted. So he looked super busy and he looked super aggressive and it looked all impressive and shit. But the reality is, kind of like in a Mayweather fight, Donald Cerrone in the third round had 7 more significant strikes landed than Robbie Lawler. So if it was a boxing match, the way they scored like Mayweather's fights, Donald Cerrone would have gotten awarded the.
Not to mention he had one takedown on Lawler.
Yeah, that's right.
And
in the first round, but he also got really outstruck in the first round. So Donald Cerrone won the second round clearly, Robbie Lawler in the first round clearly, and the third round was a little bit unclear because he was being way more aggressive, threw way more shots. It looked good, but Cerrone was being a fucking sniper on the back foot.
Yeah, he was.
They gave it to Lawler because he looked better, but he was still getting tagged. If you looked at him after the fight, he was so bruised and banged up, not just on his face, but his whole body was bruised. It was crazy. I'd never seen him banged up like that.
Yeah, that guy goes through so many wars, man. I mean, you've seen it with Condit, you've seen it with Roy McDonald, Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah.
And, this last fight he had with Tyron, it was he just got caught once worked. And that was it. And I was like, dude, I think
fucking over.
Yeah, he needed that long break though. But he got what he wanted. I think now
he might have a rematch soon.
Yeah, and here's the thing is like this whole belt thing to me is like it goes to show, like, for example, John Jones, he throws on a spectacular fucking performance, man. And I'm not gonna discredit DC at all. But for a guy who's been, how long has he been out of the octagon? For a year and a half?
Who, DC?
Yeah, well, no, about a year and change, right? Not a year Jones. And a half. When he fought Ovin St. Preux. That was last year in May. Maybe?
I don't know. It's hard. I can't tell you, man. But it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while because they were pressing for the John Jones fight, and then it got delayed, and then you know what I'm saying. So,
but for a guy that's been away from the game for that long, it's like he just came and reclaimed his place. It's like, oh shit. And DC is deep in fights, man. I'm not discrediting his championship caliber at all. He's probably one of I would say he's in my top 3 for light heavyweights, man.
Yeah, he's one of the best all time. I mean, he beat Anderson Silva, although that's not his division.
But it was a fight. It was a fight, and he beat him. He's also beaten people at the heavyweight category, which is, I think, kind of that was his original category to begin with, because he doesn't really walk around at 205. But fuck, man. Yeah, he got hit kicked pretty fucking bad. Did you see the post, not the post fight interviews, but the on UFC TV you can see different angles and hear different mic corners.
Yeah.
There was a camera pointed towards him when he was recovering from the knockout from the head kick. And fuck, he thought he was still fighting.
Jesus.
I was like, shit. And people were yelling like, no, the fight's over. Like, he was so dazed that he thought that the referee stopped the fight too early.
Yeah, that's right.
He was mad. Replay.
He was mad at John.
I was like, fuck, dude.
You watch, listen to this.
I was like, God damn. Play that shit. Play the shit.
You can find it.
What is it?
This is a clip. You're gonna laugh.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this one.
Fucking crazy. Let's see. There's a fucking audio on this thing. But basically what happened was, oh, here we go. Let's see. This is some bullshit. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Here you go. Oh, wow. Okay, I think I remember where it was. 23. Yeah.
They don't move like I move.
No, that wasn't it. 20.
So outside, he wanted an autograph, and I was like, no. Okay, so listen. And so now he's all mad. Okay, John. Who I got an autograph outside? John. Yeah, turn up. I'm sorry to interrupt you guys, but listen. I'm sorry to interrupt you, John. In this instant. Can I talk? Guys. Can I talk? Oh, no. Can I talk? John, can I talk? Listen, guys. I'm not trying to interrupt. In this instance, guys, don't do that and then ask for a picture. It doesn't work. So in this instance, John, I agree. Don't insult someone and then ask.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about right now.
Don't insult. I think, okay, and it's interesting because
this is old. I gotta try to fucking find what it is that I was trying to show you.
Well, let me backtrack to what I was saying. Oh yeah, the super fights. Perfect example is what John Jones did. He called out Brock Lesnar. He called out fucking Brock.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
He stated, if you want to know what it's like to get your ass kicked by someone that's 40 pounds lighter than you, meet me in the octagon.
Fucking insane.
What was Brock's response? Did you read that?
No, what did he say?
He said, be careful what you wish for, young man. You might just get it.
Oh, goddamn.
So, I don't know. I'm into the super fight, but I don't think Brock stands a chance.
No, he doesn't.
No, not at all. Even, I mean, John probably walks around at 235.
Yeah, and he could add weight if he wanted to.
Yeah, with all that crazy powerlifting and shit that he does. I mean, I'm pretty, and then come on, man, look at the family he comes from.
Yeah, but they'll, the UFC's smart. They'll twist it and manipulate it to make it look like their big super fight again. Brock was huge as a heavyweight, and he even had the belt. He was big enough and strong enough and good enough technically to actually be able to keep the belt for a while. He beat Randy, who was one of the greatest ever, although Randy was kind of old. But now... Yeah,
Randy put the hurt on him, though, pretty good. Yeah.
So now people had been questioning Brock Lesnar and his abilities. He beat Mark Hunt at 200, but he was all roided out, so everyone just kind of looks at him as like a freak, but he'll come back and they'll have that extra thing to go on. The greatest pound for pound fighter in history of the UFC, John Jones, who's a natural 205er, going up against the greatest transitional wrestler turned pro wrestler turned fighter, which is Brock Lesnar, who was a legitimate champion before. Maybe he was on steroids, but he never got busted back then. And I think even though he'll lose, he'll get wrecked, they'll still be able to turn it into like a spectacle, like the whole Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather thing. So yeah. But anyway, that clip that I was trying to show you, and that was the right clip. It just was a fucking 40-minute long clip, and I needed just that soundbite. It was DC saying to John Jones 3 years ago, you'll never kick me in the head with your left foot, with your left leg. He was like, I know I dip to my right. He's like, it's something I got to work on. He's like, it's a hole that I have in my game. He's like, I know people are aiming for it. He's like, you're never going to do it. He's like, I'm telling you right now, you're never going to kick me in the head with that leg.
And whack.
Yeah, and then he got fucking knocked out with it 3 years later.
Wow, man.
Pretty crazy.
Whoa, that is... I don't think that's sure coincidence. I think John Jones, I've always had it in his head, like, hey, when the opportunity strikes.
Yeah, he set it up perfectly.
And he tripped him. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was a well-timed little foot leg thing.
And that completely caught him off balance. That reminded me of the way Brock lost his balance when he got fucking completely starched by Cain Velasquez. at Honda Center too.
Yeah.
It's something. Maybe it's something on the octagon floor over in Anaheim, man. They probably put a bunch of like jizz from like, you know, all the child molesters in the area and shit that just say, oh, come inside. Just start fucking squirting it up and shit.
Speaking of child molesters.
All right, let's, all right.
Thanks for the segue, bro.
Dude, I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast today, and he had crazy ass Eddie Bravo. Shout out to both of them. I love them. But crazy Eddie, man. He starts talking about this shit. For those of you listening who don't know what we're talking about, a Navy SEAL openly said on, I don't know if I'm pretty sure it's a fake news fucking website, but he said that there's evidence that Chris Cornell was murdered, not being ruled a suicide. He was murdered, made it look like a suicide because he was trying to expose a child pedophile ring with elitists involved. And one of the persons also involved was Chester Bennington, and he died in a similar fashion. That is fucking bizarre. So I'm listening to them talk about it, and Joe gets immediately uncomfortable. He doesn't want to talk about it. So
really?
Yeah, it's weird. And then
I need to watch that.
Eddie kept pushing like, hey, he didn't want to bring it up because it's, you know, they just passed away. But Eddie's like, no, if you don't bring it up now, no one's ever going to pay attention to it. Everyone's just going to ignore it. And Joe's like, no, let's just change the subject. And he forcefully changed the subject to the UFC fights.
Fuck.
Which is very, very interesting. I'm like, whoa, I've known Joe. I've known him to be trolled like that before. Like, hey, he knows what's up. He's just being a good little soldier and shut him the fuck up because he's making all this money. But Eddie, you know, Eddie Bravo's Eddie Bravo. He's 10th Planet.
He doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't care. You know, he's a musician too, so he could give a shit. You know, he's kind of like the Zach De La Rocha of fucking jiu-jitsu. You know, he'll talk shit, speak his mind, and read shit that goes above and beyond what a normal person will fucking read about. So
I gotta check out that clip, man. That's really interesting. Now
I seen this live because you know how they go live.
Yeah,
I was watching this. Yeah, and they brought that up, and I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
Eddie Bravo does not give a fuck.
No, he doesn't.
That's funny, man.
So what do you think?
I could see where Joe's coming from, even if it's true. If I'm Joe Rogan and this shit just happened, I'm not trying to fucking, you know, be insensitive to the situation. You know, people are trying to grieve. You don't want to, you know, throw in crazy speculation out there.
Especially when you're Joe Rogan too. There's a big magnifying glass on him now.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to be super, super careful with the way you address shit like that. And if you don't know the facts and you're relying on someone like Eddie Bravo to give you the facts, then in that situation, I would just be like, okay, I need to change subject and do my own research, not talk about this live on the air when I know exactly nothing about it. So, is it possible that Cornell was taken out? Of course. You know, they take out people all the fucking time, dude. High level people, you know, celebrities. It's not, most people don't think that it's possible. How could that not be possible? Cliff was even asking me. He was like, how could they do that? Why wouldn't somebody speak up? It's the same exact reason they wouldn't speak up as if it happened to someone who was more low key. Because they're fucking scared. And even more so if it happens to a celebrity gets taken out and somebody knows the truth that's close to them. They're like, holy shit, if you're willing to take out that person, why wouldn't they be willing to fuck with me? So it's just like, it's just fear. It's a simple fear tactic. It doesn't really get any more complicated than that. And it's easy to say, to sit back, you know, in your fucking armchair at home while you're reading on the internet all this shit that's going on and be like, I can't believe a family member's not saying something. Well, you got to put yourself in their shoes. You know, this kind of thing is not only happened to celebrities, but it's happened to inventors. It's happened to what's the word? The people who speak out when there are bad practices happening in politics and shit. What's the word?
You're talking about whistleblowers?
Whistleblowers, happens to whistleblowers.
Here's the thing is I know for a fact that, for example, in Russia, Vladimir Putin, any bad journalism, any bad press that he gets, and he finds the person, the culprit, as he would so solemnly put it, they ace the guy or a girl. They don't care what gender. They take him out.
We're no different. America does the same shit.
I just don't know if it's just like this fairy tale that everyone paints it out to be, like the Illuminati and the secret society with like a Baphomet in the background and them eating just a bunch of yellow Skittles all day or whatever the fuck they're doing. But I do believe that, yes, pedophilia and trafficking in general have been an issue for eons. Since the probably, as much as people don't like to talk about, the Native Americans not being savages or whatnot, I'm pretty sure they were pawning off people too and raping women. It just so happens that, when the conquistadors came, they just did it in masses because they were different. Yeah. Hence, the whole boat ride. But
yeah, it's weird to me because people don't think about human trafficking in the United States. They don't think about child trafficking in the United States, but it's an actual thing, and pedophilia rings and that kind of stuff. It's a real thing.
Because child trafficking facts are pretty fucking scary, man.
It's fucked up, we don't see it on mainstream media, and we should be seeing it on mainstream media because it's no nastier or no worse than, all the child deaths that are happening overseas that we're causing from drone strikes or, miscalculated targets and things like that. We don't see that kind of stuff. We see it when it's supposedly done by, a regime that we're infiltrating over there. Supposedly, Assad, dropped chemical weapons on his own people. And of course we know that all that is complete bullshit and totally baseless. There's never been any evidence to support that. It's just another reason for us to get in there with more people and drop more bombs and stuff, but it's never been proved ever. So obviously, people who might be listening and they're like, well, who's faking it? Why would we fake it? Why would we lie about that? Well, the resistance, who is really just made up of terrorist organizations who want to take down Assad and are doing just the Americans' bidding, they're faking attacks like that. I mean, it's not fake, but they're blackmailing or making it look like Assad did it to generate American and Western outcry in Europe to go into those places and take people out. So anyway, coming back to the whole child trafficking thing, I don't see how all the shit that they're willing to show that is anti, Syria and anti-Islam on TV, all the death and destruction, I don't see how that's any worse than the pedophilia that's happening over here. They're both absolutely awful, but for whatever reason, they choose not to show the pedophilia, which is awful and bad, and it's happening within our own country.
Yep.
All that other shit, that's outside of our country. But we see it all the time, so it hits home. We're just like, man, that shit's going on still. People are dying, but we're not even looking what's happening within our own borders, and it's just foolish, it raises a lot of eyebrows because, pretty frequently you'll get someone who in the political sphere is connected to these rings somehow, and you're just like, how the fuck is that happening? How is that a thing? How do people not know? How are we sweeping that under the rug? Why isn't this staying as a major topic, for people?
Not only that, but dude, what really, really makes me upset is that, for example, Alex Jones brings this up and he had to publicly apologize saying that Pizzagate was a whole sham. I'm like, okay, Pizzagate, the idea, the whole story. Yes, it was fake. The pedophilia part is not. It's like, dude, just to give a quick shout out to this Instagram account that just began following me, and I'm following right back. They're called Stopping Traffic Film. So they focus on human trafficking, basically. They have a lot of interesting facts about this shit, that human trafficking has become the number 2 criminal enterprise in the world. And it's expected to surpass drugs in the next 5 years.
Wow.
What does that tell you, man?
Well, I do just want to say one thing about Pizzagate. Just because Alex Jones said it was fake news, I don't believe Alex Jones a lot of the time. I think he's actually working for the CIA. Joe Rogan has even asked him if he works for the CIA. You know what I mean? Joe Rogan and him are close friends, and Joe Rogan's still like suspicious of him.
Yeah, and that's his boy too.
He's close friends with Donald Trump. Yep. So I think he's full of shit. I think he's just kind of like there to gather people who are suspicious of the government and to steer them off in a certain direction. And that direction turns out to be in the Donald Trump direction. But because Donald Trump on paper, it looks like he's trying to clean up DC, but he's really not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
So people who don't know how to dive in any deeper, they see what Donald Trump's doing and they think it's a good thing, but really, while he's, draining the swamp on one side, he's fucking filling it back in over on the other side. So it's really no different. It's just standard politics, and people think it's going to change, but it never does. But anyway, the Pizzagate thing, I've done research on it, and it looks real. I mean, the research that I've done, it looks legitimate. Like, people have done solid work and they've connected the dots. One of those people being a major network news anchor named Ben Swan. So Ben Swan was on Georgia. He had a segment called Reality Check on Atlanta, Georgia, prime time. It's like Channel 4 or whatever the fuck it was. I don't know.
Right.
And he did a very, very thorough segment on Pizzagate, and he was completely rational about it. He wasn't making any speculations, and any dots that he was connecting that weren't 100% fleshed out, he was like, this doesn't mean it's true. He's like, this is just what it looks like. He's like, these connections can be made. So he was very meticulous and articulate about the connections that he was making. And it made you fucking raise your eyebrow, because here's a guy on fucking TV, in Atlanta on just like regular primetime television, putting this shit out there, and that clip went fucking viral. And his reality check was exposing all kinds of shit, but nothing to that extent. So when he did Pizzagate, it went fucking viral, because again, here's a major network journalist on TV. He looks super sharp. He's speaking really intelligently. He's making accurate accusations, and he doesn't. It sounds crazy, but he doesn't sound crazy because of the way he's delivering it, and he has good evidence. Anyway, long story short, he was fired. They took down all of his social media accounts. Every video that he ever made from Reality Check was taken off on the internet. You could still find some of them somewhere. People have saved them.
Wow, are you fucking serious? They fired him?
Yeah, dude, look it up, man.
They basically Chris Benoit him. I should say.
Dude, look it up. Ben Swan.
Swan.
Swan with 2 N's. Dude, he got X'd out, man. They say that he's still an anchor, but you never see him on there anymore.
Wow,
I think he's just kind of like a
fucked up.
Yeah, they say that he's still working for the company, because I'm sure they didn't want to make it too obvious, but I haven't seen any other clips with him. At all. So they just took him off the air, man. He probably still is employed by the company, but they took him off the air. So that
all because of the Pizzagate thing.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, if you watch that video, if you can find it, it's like, holy shit, like, this is crazy. People would say, oh, the network was just trying to get rid of fake news. Well, what about all the times when they had CBS and CNN faking, like literally staging events overseas to make it look like they're in Afghanistan and shit was going down? Like, they've done that. They've been caught red-handed. Those fucking anchors are still working. Like, that is like actual fake news. That's like 100% the definition of fake news. They've intentionally created something. Now, that's as bad as it gets.
Who's the guy from ABC that they made a humongous meme out of him, and they still do? I was their guy. What was his name again?
Oh, I don't know. But it sounds really familiar.
Oh, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. It's like, and then you got people like CNN that get fucking bent completely out of shape for someone making a meme, an animated meme of Donald Trump at WrestleMania with this, attacking. I think it was Vince McMahon. He was attacking in at WrestleMania. It was a shave your head match, and Vince McMahon had the CNN logo on top of him, on top of his head, like in like superimposed.
Mm.
And CNN hunted down that person that made the meme. I'm pretty sure it was just fucking around and decided to have fun, and he had to publicly apologize. Wow. It's like, what the fuck, dude? You guys are over here staging bullshit, but yet you get bent out of shape because of this, and you make them. Wow, they're the kings of fucking extortion. Like, fucking it's just like, dude, what the fuck is going on with that? So I don't know. I mean, I think that, quite frankly, a lot of it is just hearsay. I don't know. I don't know exactly what type of agenda. Everyone talks about agenda this, agenda that, agenda. I hear that word a lot, and it's usually the liberal agenda. And I'm like, I'm not a fan of liberals. I really am not. But then again, I'm very nonpartisan when it comes to bullshit.
Well, there's just a government agenda. I think that's what people have to understand. That's what people have to understand. And when it comes to, if you want to believe, if you want to take that big step to believe that the whole pedophilia thing is tied into the political sphere, which it is, but you have to do lots of research to understand it.
Like the original philosophy of capitalism was a great idea. It was a great ideology, but as any ideology, there's always a fucking wrench in the gears, a fucking monkey wrench in the gears.
Yeah, it's just right now we have no understanding of morality and ethics, so
or even value, man.
Yeah, so people are basically considered, a source of profit regardless of health and well-being. That's what we're being used. But as far as the pedophilia thing in politics, it's a tool for them, just like blackmailing with strippers and things like that. But there's also a much more sinister aspect to it too, which you can believe or not, that ties into the Illuminati and magical weird fucking practices and stuff like that. It's weird. You saw the spirit cooking, right? Did you see that?
No, I didn't. What is this spirit cooking?
Well, the spirit cooking was done by I think her name's Martha Abramovich, and she's like avant-garde artist where she'll do bizarre things live in person with people for art, for the sake of art. So she did with a friend of hers who was also like an avant-garde artist. They just shouted at each other face to face for like 10 minutes until they're completely destroyed their vocal cords. And so there's a funny video clip of that. And then she did something where she would lock herself in a room. If you were at the event, you could wait in line. She allowed 30 people in this room, and she was there clothed, but she said, you can do anything that you want to me, to my body, for 30 minutes. And she had all like weapons and all kinds of kinky shit. And she's just a weird artist,
Wow.
So the spirit cooking, she's not like a porn star, but it was just a weird thing that she did just to see how far these guys would go. And she said that some of them were cutting her and stuff. Fucking crazy. So, she has this thing called spirit cooking, which Hillary Clinton was involved with, Jay-Z was involved with, a lot of top people in the political and celebrity spectrum. And they're basically like summoning spirits and doing Satanism and cooking food with like certain ingredients like blood. It's fucking crazy, dude. Look it up, man.
Wow. That's weird, right? That's way too fucking...
It's fucking weird. It's weird. And like, that was in the Hillary Clinton emails, dude. The spirit cooking. They were like, so what are we... Fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit. I mean, this is just me and the atheist side of me just really, really kicking in, because I was a hardcore Catholic. I really was. I was going to be a priest. I joined the seminary.
Damn.
I abstained from sex, drugs, and alcohol until I was at age of 20. Believe it or not. And I played in a band at 19, believe it or not. 18, actually. No.
Straight edge.
Yeah, and I was a straight edge dude, and everyone hated me for it. You know, and I knew other straight edge people, and without me realizing, did not consciously know, was not consciously aware that these people were just fucking, they were dicks, dude. And it took for me to actually, you know, loosen up a little bit, you know, go out with a girl, have some sex, you know, enjoy a joint and a beer, and then play in a band. Cool. And then when I discovered that, I told my godparents and I told my mom, like, hey, I don't think being a man of God is for me. And quite frankly, the shit I would see, because bear in mind, I grew up in a very, very Catholic environment. And as I got older, I lived right across the street from a private school that had not only a convent, but they also had a seminary. And that was Cantwell Sacred Heart of Mary.
Wow.
And that's the seminary that I was planning on becoming a part of. And you can't join the seminary until you're 21 unless you know somebody. That's kind of how they work. So that was a clean giveaway. Like, hey, we'll pull some strings. You just got to kind of play ball with us. And I would see them. Here's where my disbelief in religion, period, started kind of declining. It was when, first it was when 9/11 happened. That was the first trigger. And then I'm like, okay, why? It's always why. Like, I see it happen. It's fucked up, but why would someone do this? And it's because in the name of whatever invisible person they're fucking, you know, they're worshiping. And then we're going to retaliate because that's wrong, because our invisible person is much better and much more loving and forgiving, but he'll punish you if you misbehave.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs
for
your money.
Eternity.
And you'll burn. But
that's the kicker.
It's like, oh God, like all this shit is completely insane. And as time went by, I just grew more nonpartisan. I thought I was leaning a little bit liberal, and I was leaning a little bit conservative, but I wasn't really getting both sides. I'm like, God, both of you motherfuckers are crazy, dude.
You're both fucking crazy.
It's like, all you guys want is to get your way. Why? Because it's self-gratifying. Like, you don't immediately, it's always self-serving. That's what I hate about politics. It's like, you really think they consider other people? You really think they genuinely want to help people? No, because the ones that do not make it. There was a saying, for example, in the city of Bell, where I used to live near, that if you're mayor of the city of Bell, which everyone knows they were caught on a big fucking corruption scandal, and they all went to jail. There was a saying in the city of Bell, because I played in a band that was in the city of Bell. If you're mayor of the city of Bell and you do not make $1 million during your term, you did not do your job right. That is fucking stupid. That is fucked up. And not to mention, they were pretty much the model for all the other cities who had aspiring mayors and whatnot. And then it's monkey see, monkey do. Hey, this fucking dude made a bunch of money in his city, didn't get caught, pocketed all this shit, and then his term's over and he's, you know, going to fucking Pebble Beach, you know, swinging his dick around.
Really?
And it's like, fuck, man. Like, and, you know, I don't like going down that rabbit hole because I don't want to. You know, that's not my thing, but yet I have to pay taxes and, you know, put money in these people's pockets. So, I mean,
there's so many rabbit holes to go down, man. It's fucking.
It's not just one rabbit hole. It's like multiple fucking wells, dude. Like they go so fucking deep.
Yeah.
And you don't know where to start. And quite frankly, at my stage now, I don't want to start. I just want to contribute selflessly to young minds and not in a fucking indoctrinating way. A lot of people find that hard to believe. Oh, you're an atheist. What are you going to teach them? And that is the most insulting thing I've ever fucking heard, man. I was like, God, dude, like,
I'm going to teach them to think for them fucking selves.
Like, for instance, I can teach them the difference between your and your. And they're like, what is that supposed to mean? And I'm like, oh, God, dude, like, here we go.
Second of all, I'm going to teach them that Jesus was not white.
It's like, that dude was red.
He was red as fuck. He was
sprinkles
Irish.
Of black. Like, oh man, there's just so much bullshit. It's like, fuck, dude. Like,
his real name was Jesus McChrist,
and that was his weekend name, bro.
That was
his weekend name. On Fridays, he was known as Yahweh.
Oh, that was reggae night. He was getting hymy.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I mean, that makes for a longer podcast next time.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, so for those who want the Cliff Notes version of what we just talked about, we covered, of course, Metallica. Metallica was awesome. We jizzed all over everyone.
We did.
We covered UFC 214, Fight of the Night, Daniel Cormier, John Jones.
Sad face.
Yeah. You're the cry face man. The new
sad face sports meme. We can retire Michael Jordan's crying face. It will now forever be DC.
That is brutal. And then we covered the whole conspiracy of Chester Bennington and then Chris Cornell looking to basically expose a pedophile ring amongst elite celebrities and politicians and whatnot. But
rest in peace, no disrespect.
Exactly. Two of the most iconic people, of course, not only in music, but in my life, and I'm sure yours as well, Kyle. Their music not only lived with me while they were alive, but they continue on more now because I know they're gone, which is fucked up. I hate feeling like that because I felt like that with Tupac and Kurt Cobain. And fuck, man, I mean, there's things that you have control over that you don't have control over, and there's things you have an influence on. That's pretty much all I can leave people with that are seeking answers. Like, what do we need to do? And the truth is, you can't really do anything. You just have to be cool, man. That's it. As hippie as that might fucking sound, you just have to be cool. And if someone that's in trouble and you maybe think you can help them, then go for it. So, but anyway, I usually plug this in as well. Be sure to check out Jester.com as well. Kyle is the lead frontman for Jester. New album, new EP, so to speak. I like calling it an album because I don't get to say that very often anymore, man. Because motherfuckers ain't dropping no albums, know what I'm saying?
It's eclectic. It feels like an album. It's got a lot of diversity.
It does.
Go pick it up. All in Just on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon MP3.
And if you want an actual hard copy like I would, be sure you check out Jester.com. There's a contact landing link on there. You might even get it autographed by all one members of the band because there's only one band member in it. So,
and that band member is Lucas.
That's
Cliff's Black Cat.
That's it, man. He plays everything at the same time too. Mm-hmm. But all right. So for Ed Namrok podcast, also we have another podcast. We just haven't done it. It's called the Pyroclast podcast. That's a little bit more intense. So stay tuned. We're gonna work on an episode on that. On that note, see you motherfuckers later.
Peace.